Hola, amigos, and welcome back to another episode of La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Human, here at Vida Verde, here with my guest this week, the one and only Hemalayaa Behl. Hemalayaa is a transformational facilitator and embodied leadership coach and the chief visionary officer of Embody Costa Rica. Very much looking forward to having her back here, and we're going to have a great conversation. We hope you enjoy. Hemalayaa Behl, welcome to La Vida Verde podcast.
Thank you.
I'm so glad we're finally doing this. You played here. You did your dance embodiment activation here for our New Year's party 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And so that was the last time you were here.
Yes.
Welcome back.
I was lying right here at this spot, actually. Backstage.
Oh,
We had backstage.
We had a backstage zone.
This was my little power out zone. I need a little nap.
Yeah, well, and DTO was rocking it right over there.
It's true.
We had a great time, so thank you
good.
for coming.
My pleasure.
Let's jump into this, shall we?
Do it.
Okay. Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, you're from Canada.
I am.
Didn't know that.
Yep. I was born and raised in Canada, in Toronto, and then up until I was 18. And then I moved to Vancouver, British Columbia. So I still stayed in Canada, but West Coast, which felt like home. I was like, okay, these are my people. When's West Coast people?
You found the West Coast hippie people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My whole life I was like, I do not belong here. I do not belong here. And then West Coast, I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is my place.
And your parents are from Canada as well, or they're
No, they're
immigrants?
from India. They immigrated to Canada in 1969. I was born in 1973. Oh, I'm just revealed. Ooh,
Good time
for
to
real.
good,
Did I need to do that?
You are
I didn't need to
getting you were maturing like a fine wine, my dear. What
I do get better with it. It's true.
What and so what part of India are they from?
From Punjab, from
Punjab.
the north.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Punjabis up there in Canada. Isn't
Oh yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have a friend who's like Punjabi, and all of his family's, but good food.
Excellent food.
Excellent food.
Excellent. Yeah, it is.
Your dad. Oh, I met your dad. He came here. He was here for one of the New Year's. Didn't he come for New Year's? He was here.
He was gonna come for New Year's,
I
but
met
you met him at our house.
Okay.
I believe.
I don't remember.
Something happened. No, he was gonna come to the New Year's party actually, but he was flying out like the next morning very early, and he's 80, so he couldn't. I don't know, stay up late with us. I
party
couldn't
all
either. I
night.
was on this bed right here. So
Yeah. So you grew up in Canada, the daughter of Punjabi immigrants, and you moved to the West Coast, and then. What got you started? Because you're most well known for Bollywood dance. I looked you up, and your DVDs were like hot stuff in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
hot stuff. What was it? Bollywood. What was it? It was
Bollywood Booty.
Bollywood Booty.
That's my fave.
And what inspired the Bollywood Booty?
Well, I had already started yoga, and I thought that was, definitely helping my practice, or I don't want to say my practice. I think it was helping me just to find myself. And my friend at the time, Shiva Ray, and some other teachers that were teaching yoga in LA at that time were starting to make videos. And I was in the crew with them, like friends with them.
Right.
And they were like, you should pitch to this company, an idea. And I was like, well, I'm not going to pitch a yoga DVD or something. So I really just got centered with myself. Honestly, before I ever started teaching Bollywood-inspired fitness, I just sat with myself on my own yoga mat in my living room, and I was like, what are my favorite things? Dance and yoga. So I just put them together.
Were you a fan of Bollywood?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch all the movies. I grew up with them. I mean, they're very melancholy or melodramatic and over the top. Hi.
But with epic dance numbers.
Epic dance numbers.
Yeah.
And it's such a melange of so many different styles of dance. Like originally, of course, classical Indian dance, which I was also studying at that time. I started that really late. Usually, girls in India start like 5 years
Yeah,
old.
but you were in Canada.
I was in Canada, so I just started at 29.
Cool.
It's different.
And were you always like, was yoga your path like from an early on, or what was your kind of?
That's a great question. It was my dad's path. So I grew up with it. So my dad was a yogi.
Oh,
He practiced asana in the house. And we also had something in the Sikh tradition. So we grew up in the Sikh tradition, or Sikh is actually how you say it. Sikh.
Right.
Sikh. We had a god room. So in that god room. Yeah. Babaji the Kamra, like, in Punjabi, that's what we call it. Babaji the Kamra is the god room. So we would go in there, we would pray, do some yoga, sit. He really wanted me to learn meditation at that age, not because he saw something in me, just because I was a very bad student. So he was just like,
he wanted you to calm down.
Yeah, he's like, can you just focus your ass here? Let me teach you some shit, So, but I grew up with somebody who was a yogi. My parents both prayed and were deeply steeped in the tradition of being a yogi. Yeah. But I didn't find yoga until my mid-20s, like early to mid-20s. That's when I came into it myself.
Yeah, well, it's like that. You gotta find it yourself, right? You don't do something because your parents want you to do it.
You do something because your parents are not doing it.
Right, exactly. So what was okay? So, but once you kind of found it, was that like you're like, this is the path I'm on. This is what I'm gonna do.
I didn't think
you never
I was
had
gonna
another career, basically.
Well, I was into theater, and performance. Yeah.
How natural! You turned your love of performance and yoga into like.
I tell this to my students. I just say, like, when you're looking for your purpose, it's right there. Like everything that you've been doing, it all like comes together.
Yeah, well, it makes sense when you think about it. It's like we're all these unique beings with our own unique gifts from our own unique places, spirits from these all of our past lives and all this come into this one moment. Like, it's kind of obvious if you look at it. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So it was like really my comfort being in front of the camera, my comfort, telling people what to do, the bossiness, and then the joy of dance, dance, and then centering ourselves, finding ourselves, using affirmations, all the things like all came together in the DVDs. And then like as I went on to teach at festivals and workshops and retreats and all the things, like it just kept more and more coming together. Oh, and I will add this bit is like transformation, right? Like the transformational process work where we shift our perspective, we shift our mindset, we reset the mindset. That's all part of, everything just melanged together. So it's, it's amazing, man.
And yeah, it's interesting because you kind of, you were saying you were kind of part of this group of community, this yoga community that were, your friends, they were finding success in yoga. And I was thinking about it because I've heard kind of, I know how I feel about it, but I've also heard like very traditional people say like, oh, this is bad. You shouldn't commercialize yoga. American yoga is not yoga, blah, 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 blah. Like, how dare they bastardize our culture? I'm just curious, like, what's your kind of perspective on it? Because obviously it's supported you in a lot of ways.
100%. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Truly, one of my first teachers was Israeli. The first yoga.
That's not yoga.
I know, right?
Well, your first teacher was probably your dad, wasn't he?
And yeah, my dad for sure. But when I was on my own in my 20s, there wasn't a lot of yoga studios. There was one studio that just popped up in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I had already been practicing yoga on my own out of a book, the Iyengar book, which I found out later. I didn't even know what Iyengar was back then. But my friend gave me this book, and I would just do these postures and be at home and cry on my mat, find myself that way. But then somebody said, hey, there's a yoga studio. You should go check it out. Prana Yoga Studio. And I went, and I was like, I don't know. It just felt like this is the way.
Yeah.
People coming together and practicing and finding themselves simultaneously. So I had no problem with it. I do have I don't know if it would be called a problem, but I do have like an issue with when somebody brands a yoga into like Bikram yoga or Hatha yoga, or not Hatha yoga, sorry, hot yoga. And it's like, it's this thing and only these postures and that's all you do, right? Because yoga is flow and it's ever changing and it's ever expanding and you're always finding the way through your body. It can't be the same. So that's, I feel like, putting the masculine into this thing that's supposed to be both the masculine and the feminine together. So there gets to be flow and like linear both. So that's when it comes into like
Okay.
weirdness, when
Yeah.
there's like somebody that says, hey, this is the way of yoga and it's this way. And I feel like corporate does that, right? So when things are corporate branded, yeah,
Right.
exactly, put into this thing where I'm like, really do we need to do that?
Yeah.
So that's the only time. And I mean, still, I'm not gonna preach or like say, okay, what you're doing is bad. I'm just not gonna go. It's not gonna be my thing. Yeah.
Which is a very yoga path.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I find the people that are like making problems is like, is that yoga?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah, no,
complaining
it's very true.
is
Yeah.
complaining yoga?
No.
'Cause-
Yeah, right. Did you not learn how to do
yeah, what you want to read it? Okay, and interesting. So and also like you found quite a bit of success with your DVDs. You had your own TV show at one point. You were I mean I actually talked to one of my roommate here, one of our guests. She said she like found you. She was like early 2000s. She was like searching online and found you, and she was like, I was in love with her. She was like, so you, I mean, touched people. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't, but like obviously you had success, so probably you understood that. But like people really were like, you know, following what you were doing. At one point you were on Ellen. You were on the Ellen show.
That was fun.
Who's a better interviewer?
Oh, come on. Umano, none of
I mean.
Are you gonna make me dance though? Like, hey, she got me to dance.
I think Ellen got canceled. Just saying.
Yeah, you're like, here I am in the jungle. I continue. I win.
I know. She doesn't have nothing on us. Come on.
Exactly.
Come on. What do we
No.
got? Look at this.
No. She's a great entertainer though. It's very funny.
Oh, good.
Right.
You had a good time with that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
She's real nice to me.
Real professional.
Except for when I sat in her chair by mistake. Oops.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know. I was like, she invited me to come to set. She invited me to the area, so I just like leaned on her chair. I didn't realize it said Ellen on it. But she wasn't mean to me still. She still got her assistant to be like, you might just want to
yeah.
come on over here.
We're gonna sanitize
That was
this
after I
now.
did my thing with her, which was,
Oh.
yeah, it was really fun.
You were hanging? Was that
Yeah.
post hang?
I was supposed to.
We're gonna have
Well,
some-
I was watching because Dolly Parton was on after me.
No.
It was Bollywood and Dollywood.
Bolly and Dolly?
Yeah. It was
You
Bolly and
had a
Dolly.
Bolly and
Yeah.
Did
So
you get
the-
to meet Dolly?
I did get to meet Dolly. I know, she's so
Woo!
cute. She's so cute.
That was you guys should have collaborated. She would have collaborated
You're
with
right.
you.
I
You still
should have.
could.
I still could.
You still could. You're both still
Thank
rocking.
you.
And
It's
she's
true. We're actually DTO and I are going to Nashville real soon. Maybe we'll find her.
Oh, that's right. His brother lives there.
Yeah. True.
Okay. I want to be in Nashville with you guys.
God, it's called Nash Vegas
Okay,
now.
maybe
They
I
call
will.
it Nash Vegas.
I know. I know what's going on there. Okay.
Oh yeah, you're a musician. You need to.
I lived in
yeah.
Nashville
Oh, you-
for no, I lived there. I grew up there actually.
Oh,
So
okay.
for some of my life.
Oh.
This isn't about me though.
It's a great
Hemalayaa.
conversation,
It's
though.
about you. So yeah, at what point did you meet DTO? Because we had DTO on the podcast. He was our guest, I think, a few weeks ago. How did that? And we don't, so this is like,
Okay.
this is an edge for us to have a
I'm gonna
partnership
divulge
so
here.
close to, two close episodes close to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened? How would that happen?
You could have said like episodes on top of each other.
I could have
but
gone
yeah,
double
you just didn't-
entendre
yeah,
on you.
yeah, yeah.
No, I'm not
It's
doing
fine.
that.
It's good. So we met surprisingly on online, and I was so against online
Bumble?
dating. Nope, I didn't do any of those. It was Instagram. We met on
Oh.
Instagram. So if you know my partner DTO,
Did he
you
slide
know,
in? Did he slide into your DMs?
He definitely did.
He
He
slid
slid into my
into your
DMs when I
DMs.
did not know you could have that you had private messages. This is like, I'm always a little behind on the technology. So, when like Instagram started, they didn't have DMs. They didn't have private
Oh.
messages.
I remember.
So when I started on there, I didn't know. And then one day I was like, what's this? And it had the little envelope message thing. I was like, oh, there's messages here. So I saw this message from this guy, DTO. And
Hey, girl.
yeah, he's like, "Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
What you doing?" No, he was very professional. He was like, "Hey, sister." I was like, "You must be gay." And then no. But he was being well, I was like, he either has a girlfriend or he's gay. I did think that. So he basically was like, "Hey, I am a musician. I play for different yoginis and yogis for festivals and this and that. I have this new album out. Check it out." So I read it and I'm like, okay, whatever. Because to be honest, there has been a lot of yogi producers
Sure.
that their level of quality, especially back then, like now, that was like 8 years ago. Back then, there wasn't the high level quality of production, right?
Mhm.
So I was always a little snobby when I would get an album. I'm like, really? Do I have to listen to this? Okay.
Because people would send you their stuff like,
They're sending me this stuff.
hey,
Yeah.
let's work together.
So he didn't send me his album yet. He had just sent me the DM. This was in November. I didn't get the message until like January. I look at the message. I'm like, oh, this was a while ago. He puts his phone number in it. He writes me back again. I didn't get the message until February now because I keep
so months of going by.
Months of going by. So February, we finally talk on the phone, and it was not romantic. It was all like music. Here's what I do. I play for da-da-da. Like you teach at Bhakti Fest. You teach at all these places if you want. I'm happy to, do music for you while you're teaching. So I said, yeah, don't go that far. Like I'm not going to I just met you. We'll see. But he did share his album then. And this was the day that we actually spoke was Valentine's Day. It was actually February 14th. And I wasn't dating anybody. I was happily single. I was very happy going to my dance classes, being single in LA and, doing my thing. And so I talked to him and I was like, okay. I went home. I was having a date by myself. I was like purposely, I'm like, there's some, there were some guys hovering around, but I was very clear, like, I'm not interested in anybody right now. I'm just like gonna do my own thing. So I had a date by myself in my own little living room. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll play some music just so I can move around a bit. And his email popped up with his music. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll give this the try. And I was like, this is good. I was really surprised, because it had been a while since I heard music from the industry of yoga. That was actually really good.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. And then I wrote him a text going, dude, your music is amazing. High production. Good job. And then he called me old fashioned style. Like, called me back and he's like, hey, thanks. Hey, yeah. Now he was like, hey, girl. No, no, he did say, you told me to let you know, like, if I come into LA anytime, like maybe we can grab a tea. And I happened to be coming in on Thursday. This was a Tuesday. And he said he's coming in on Thursday. He has this whole thing that he was going to do with his eyes, like laser or whatever.
LASIK.
LASIK, thank you. Something like that.
This whole thing.
This whole thing
with his eyes.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Laser cutting.
Obviously, I don't pay attention very well. But he came into town and we met up, and I really still felt like it was business related. But then as I was getting ready, I'm like, I'm putting on this pretty shirt. And so we did meet up, and there was one moment when we met up. We went for Thai, vegan Thai, in the valley of LA. Which is not LA.
The valley.
But yeah, it's the valley.
The valley.
We met in the valley because he was far in the valley and I was downtown. So yeah. So we met
He's
up.
the valley boy.
He's a valley boy. He's an Iowa boy, actually.
I know.
San Diego boy.
We know. We had him on the podcast.
Okay, good. Just watch that one. You'll get to know him. This is about me and Umano right
That's
now.
right.
Yes.
It's about you, actually. Okay, so
so we met up, yeah. And there was a moment like I got up to go to the bathroom and I was like, oh, he's looking at my butt. I can feel it.
You can see
I was like, oh, the energy shifted.
I mean, you got a Bollywood booty.
What?
As
my mom would say,
your
what
brand.
can do. What can do.
What can do. What can do. Oh gosh.
Oh,
I like
Mom, you're the cutest. But that night it was really sweet. We just sat in the car after we ate. We sat in the parking lot in the car for hours listening to awesome music. He was just like DJing and playing all these awesome tracks. And I was like, this is so cool. I did make it clear. I was like, we are not going to exchange any saliva tonight. So just get that out of your head. And he was super gentleman. Like, I got out of the car just to even go to the bathroom. He like came and opened my door,
Oh yeah,
stood there
he's an
waiting
Iowa
for
boy.
me. He's an
He's a
Iowa
Midwest
boy.
boy.
I know. I love my Midwest. Oh, it was so cute. And hello, I was in LA for almost 20 years. I'm like, I'm not used to this.
Right.
I had, yeah, definitely.
Was there a song that stuck out in your mind from that night?
That is such a good question. I can't remember. I think probably Future Primitive. Like he was playing some Future Primitive stuff, and I was like, and I hadn't heard Future Primitive before, and I was like, this is dope. This is amazing.
Nice.
So it was a good time. Yeah.
So you fall in love, fast forward, have 7 children. What? Where are we at? No. You guys don't have any kids.
We don't have any kids. We were both very happy that we both didn't want to have kids and that the other wasn't waiting to find somebody to have it,
But you do have a child.
We have a child here in Costa Rica that is definitely more than
More
a child.
More work than a little
holy
breathing.
shit, yes. Yeah. So that's called Embody Costa Rica, and it is a retreat space center, event space. It's beautiful. It's amazing, and we have definitely birthed it, created it, raising it. We are raising it. Yeah.
I remember I was doing a tour, and I believe he told me that it was really your vision. Like you were standing on the land and saying like, this is what we're going to do kind of thing.
Yeah. Not the retreat center part of it, but definitely the yoga studio. So
yoga studio.
Yeah. The first thing was the labyrinth. I saw the labyrinth, and then I was like, oh, and here's where we should do a little yoga deck, I thought. And you've been to the space.
It's not a little yoga deck.
No, then it expanded. That's what happens when you do witchy things on the land. Then it expanded and grew to this really gigantic, amazing healing.
It's gigantic and gorgeous.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. So yeah, I did definitely vision things, and we were just listening, and we continue to listen. Like right now, we're in a big pause. We're like, no more construction. Let's just hold off and build from what we have and welcome the people in from what we have. And it's really amazing. We're having amazing conversations. We've got some great bookings for awesome facilitators coming. And
yeah, your space it's really amazing. I mean, I really can't understate that. Like the yoga platform dance space is beautiful. The new downstairs space is the kitchen, dining, like chill area. The downstairs, like new bedrooms are beautiful. I was really impressed. I like that you guys did like the whole bunk room thing. That's a cool idea.
Yeah. Adult bunk beds. Yeah.
Adult bunk beds. Yeah. They're
Queen
like
and queen.
Queen, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and what do you have? Do you guys have any like upcoming things or anything you're like really excited about? Are you leading any trainings or?
Yeah, we've got our yearly annual retreat called Embody Costa Rica. It's our signature retreat in December. And it's a transformational camp for adults. That's what we call it. Even though we're staying in beautiful luxury accommodations and all of that, but the whole thing is going back into being a kid again, really going into the mindset of being a kid. So we go through yoga, meditation, all the things of transformation and nature incorporated. That's actually what we love about where we are. We're in a beautiful mountain town, Atenas, and we are doing this work in that space. We're not away from it all. We're not in the middle of a jungle. We are
Close
mountain
enough,
town,
yeah.
jungle, and near the central. And that's Tantra. Tantra is the material meeting the spiritual world. So that when you go back into your lives, that's really what I can see. And that's what the success rate now, like we keep seeing more and more of the people that are coming to do the work there, is that they're taking it home and it's sustaining a lot longer because it's embedded. Instead of going to the forest or the jungle or away from your lives so much that when you go back, it's a contrast. So that's what we're loving. And that's why I know that the land has called us there to do the work there.
Right. So it's more of like it's a middle. It's kind of like a meeting them halfway kind of thing. Is that what you're saying? Like
Yeah.
there's mostly people maybe from the cities or something that are coming or from towns and they're used to that kind of world and they get to have that experience, but also with this whole embodied aspect to it that
Absolutely.
maybe is new for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's like people that are householders. In yoga, we say we're householders because we're living in society. We're not living in a cave somewhere doing our japa all day. We're not just doing, chanting on our beads all day. we're in the world. We're of the world and we're in the world and we're raising our families and we're with our families. We're not removing ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's different kind of work.
That's integration.
It's integration.
Yeah, and
exactly.
yoga, lifestyle, spirit, all of that needs to be integrated for it to make sense. Otherwise, it's like this second life that you have somewhere. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
else? Well, you see, you brought your Embody Oracle
I
deck cards, and how did
did.
these? Did you design these? How did these come about?
did. So I met up with a
Show the
dear
camera.
girlfriend. Yeah, so this is the front of it. Yes, the front of it. Embody Oracle card deck. So I had this vision
Alexis
of
Cohen.
Yep, Alexis Cohen is the artist and one of my best, dearest friends. So her and I got married for this deck. We say this is our baby.
Okay.
And so she did all of the art for these.
Beautiful.
They're very feminine based.
Yeah, I love them.
And yeah, they're beautiful. They're all different. Yeah, she's just so amazing. Free yourself, accountability,
And
pleasure.
did you come up with the design the
names.
names and
Mhm.
what they're?
Yeah, I wrote the whole book. This is before AI.
Right. You actually worked
I
on it.
actually worked on it. I actually wrote it. I had some support with
Mhm.
editors and friends who are writers as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, I channeled the whole messages, and then she came in and made the art for them, and she just went next level. All of them are muses. Like each one of them could be at your altar. Like this one queen could be at your altar and just
Do you have them?
give
Do you
to you.
remember all of them?
all
do you have it,
44.
memorized?
No, that's the thing about when you channel something. I feel like I
Right.
can't remember anything.
Right.
I have to literally read it. When I pick a card, I'm like, okay, I need to read.
Can I pick a card?
Yes.
Let me try it.
So you know about putting them in your non-dominant hand and then knock
Non-dominant?
on them a few times
Okay.
with your dominant
I don't
hand.
need to shuffle them.
You can shuffle them now or after or whatever, but
Okay.
you want to knock on them to
Knock
clear.
on them.
Good. Now,
Okay, and then I just choose one, right?
however you want to
Any
choose.
other? Okay, I'm
Breathe
gonna
with it.
choose-
Maybe ask something if you
This one I'm choosing is self-care.
want.
I know what self-care
Mano,
is
do
all
you
about.
need some self-care?
I have been doing good job of taking care of myself. I think I could use a little more.
All right.
I know this. I could use a little more. I would say this is the good time to do it because the rainy season. Wait a minute. I'm going to look at this a little bit.
Yeah. Check
This
her
is
out. She's
something-
hugging
she's
herself.
hugging herself. She's
Yeah.
hugging herself.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
hug myself.
So I'll take a picture of the book for you. So basically it's a message and then it has something called the Embody invitation, which it invites you into doing the thing that will support you integrating it
So
into your life.
dance or movement, some
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
embodiment.
Yep. And then I also suggest a piece of music if you guess whose music.
I can't imagine. John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah, nailed it. DTO.
He's the DTO of Embody, and
Yeah.
you are the CVO, the Chief Visionary Officer.
Yeah.
Hemalayaa, it's been really a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Is there anything? How can people reach you? You want to last minute? Just anything coming up that you want to push? Let people know how they can reach you.
Yeah, you can go to embodykostarica.com. You can go to Instagram, Embody Costa Rica. EMBODY is how you spell embody. And we've got some other retreats and things there. You can just check out. Send us a DM where we do our own DMing. I actually do it now. I actually
slide
know that's
into her
happening.
DMs.
Slide into my DMs.
She's inviting you.
That's right. Say, hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
I
Hey,
also
sister.
want to say, Umano, this is such an opportunity and such a really great gift because as we were driving here through the rivers and the mountains,
Hey, there's
and
bridges
the
going up
rocky
over
road,
now.
I was like, it's so rare that we do interviews in person like this, like where I'm actually sitting and touching beside, like we're online all the time and Zoom and. I've been taking a hiatus from online, so this is a perfect way to complete my hiatus because I'm going back online for, just some offerings and things. But this has been amazing to bring us into this amazingness.
I'm a pretty analog kind of guy. I'm not a big fan of the world moving online. I mean, it's nice to be able to connect with people when you want, but I'm much more happy being with my community.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy you're part of my community.
Me
and if you
too.
want to join our community, there's links down there.
Yeah.
We have opportunities. Thank you, Hemalayaa.
Thank you, my love.
Okay. My guest today was Hemalayaa Behl. This is La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Human. We release episodes every Tuesday. You can find us on YouTube. We are also on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. I want to thank Ecoteas Yerba Mate. We are both getting charged on your mate. Thank you so much, Ecoteas. If you want to be a sponsor of this show, please reach out to me. You can find us at Finca Vida Verde CR on Instagram. You can slide into our DMs. We are on Facebook, Finca Vida Verde, and fincavitaverde.com is our very outdated website. We will see you next time with another great episode. Don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/La Vida Verde podcast, where we have behind the scenes extras for you to enjoy. Thank you, Hemalayaa.
Mucho gusto.
Pura vida.
Con gusto.